Jambo, and welcome to the Wellness Diary. I'm your host, Seth Nyabere, your guide on this transformative journey towards mental health and wellness. Each fortnight, we'll bring you insights from mental health practitioners, community leaders, and individuals with lived experiences, all sharing their unique perspectives. In this inclusive space, we celebrate voices from multicultural backgrounds, diverse communities, fostering a rich dialogue around healing and growth. Let's dive into the stories that resonate and inspire us all. Jumbo, and welcome to the safe space, the Wellness Diary. As always, I'm always privileged to have guests in studio and who help us go through our life journey and understand ourselves better. We want to walk with you in the Wellness Diary and to walk with you through life from a foundation level, to be able to identify those issues that may have impacted you at childhood or through your developmental stages that will enable you and actually impact the functionality of your well-being. So today I'm joined in studio by Adela Holmes, who's been here before. And Adela is a trauma-informed therapeutic practice consultant. And she has a rich experience of about 5 decades of children and welfare, Adela?
Working in the out-of-home care field in a variety of different roles.
Yeah.
So I've seen the out-of-home care situation from a range of different perspectives, which I think gives some really good value and depth to how one works with it.
Out-of-home care, every time we mention out-of-home care, I think many people might not understand what out-of-home care means. Yeah.
So the out-of-home care system in Australia, anyway, provides care, or is designed to provide care in a range of different ways to children who have crossed all the legal thresholds to be removed from parental care, either on a short-term basis or a longer-term basis, and who need an alternative kind of care. Yeah. So it covers kinship care, which is where perhaps a family member may assume the care of a child, foster care, and residential care. And residential care is something that I have particularly specialised in. I don't think it's as well understood in Australia what its value might be as it is in other countries of the world. Hopefully we'll get back to a point where it's understood, because the more that we understand the impacts of complex trauma on development, the more rich, I guess, we could make residential care in order to be able to address the impacts of that. And I'll talk a bit more about that as we go through today.
Yeah, and I feel like throughout the years, Adela, you've lived through certain generations, like from your generation to my generation, and now we have like my children growing up. And this is information that has slowly been digested through the years. And there are people who still don't understand it in real sense. And just to kickstart us, like, we have trauma. Adela, I feel like every time I go through social media or go through the media, many people misuse the word trauma.
Yes,
trauma, it's really
quite
misused.
True.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people talk about types of trauma that they're not necessarily particularly expert in.
Yes.
So I'm not going to fall into that trap.
I'm
going to confine what I talk about to the type of trauma that I've worked with and been involved with addressing for those 53 years that I've operated. I should say just 5 decades or something like that, because every time I say 50, it's nearly 54 years now, so I have to update it. But it's important to understand when I talk, I'm talking about a very particular type of trauma, which is it arises out of developmental experience.
Yes.
So the type of trauma that I have my expertise in is called complex trauma or developmental trauma.
Yes.
And basically it is the type of trauma sometimes that begins in utero.
Okay.
So, it's difficult for people to hear that, but it's true.
Just before you continue, Adela, when you say it appears in utero, like what do you really mean?
Well, imagine a circumstance where a mother is either in a very violent relationship or where the mother may be using drugs or other substances.
Yeah.
So every time that occurs or the violence occurs, the fetus is experiencing that too.
Okay.
Not directly, but indirectly.
Yes.
In two ways. Firstly, there's what's happening, but then there is also the chemical response of the mother, the physiological response from fear and from harm. So that so the mother in a violent situation isn't only experiencing that when the violence is happening, because there's also the walking on eggshells period where you're anxious. But during all of that time, the mother is actually secreting more adrenaline and more cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and that will cross the placental barrier and have an impact on the fetus in the uterus. And that will actually raise the stress response level of the fetus.
Wow.
So in utero, that is happening. And it isn't happening all the time, obviously, but it's happening, to varying degrees, and that will have an impact. Then what happens post-birth is similar but more intense, if you like. In some violent families, for example, a mother may either put the baby in a room with the door closed to keep the baby safe from the violence, which may mean that she doesn't hear the cues the baby's giving for need to be met. So that infant may lie in a cot, cry, but a baby can do nothing else but cry to signify a need. And if that need is a basic need, such as food, water, something required for survival, then that infant, their stress response system again becomes heightened and they feel as if they're dying. If you cry and cry and cry for 4 hours and you don't get fed, you're getting close to being in a pretty bad way.
Very true.
So you're under threat. And all of those kinds of experiences can create complex trauma because, and this is a really important distinction, and I think I mentioned it the other time that we met, that the definition of complex trauma, developmental trauma, is that it provides the organising environment for the brain.
For the brain,
So all of those experiences are, to the infant, life, right? That's what life is. They don't know any different. And it creates an impact really in 4 ways. So the first way is it determines the way that the neural pathways of the child's brain are organised and laid down. And I don't want that to sound deterministic because it can be changed, but certainly it needs to be recognised before it gets changed. So it does that. It creates a state of heightened arousal. So that infant is, by that stage, almost permanently in a state of heightened arousal.
Yes.
That means that their physiology is geared towards survival.
Yes.
Because that's what they have to do.
Yes.
So it affects them in that way. Now, of course, if your physiology is organised in a certain way and you're in a heightened state, that's going to have an impact on your mind.
Yes.
On your psychology. So your mind follows suit, if you like, and it drives you to behave in certain ways without knowing that that's what's happening.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then the fourth way that it impacts is, of course, in our emotions.
Yes.
Because our emotions derive from our psychological state and our mind. Wherever you think the mind sits. It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
But on those four levels, simultaneously. So when people see a child in care who has had that pre-existing experience, they will say, oh, why is that child behaving that way?
Yeah.
And they use the word behaviour, which actually shrinks down the understanding of what is really going on, because it's not just behaviour. And it's also not thought about behaviour. It's not a decision.
It's a communication.
It's a communication of state, often without the knowledge of the child about what's driving that.
And you get the difference, and you see all the breakdown. You've broken it very well into four. And it covers the emotional aspect, the psychological well-being, and the physical well-being as well. Because if emotionally and psychologically you're affected, then the battle begins also of the physical nature. Let's break it down, the physiological versus the psychological. You've expounded it in four ways. And I'm trying to look at it from a point of presentation. Like Adela, you and I respond differently. We might be raised in the same environment, born by the same parents or mother, but we present trauma in different ways. And you've seen it in the kind of work that we do, Adela.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So one of the key elements of working with children who've been harmed by complex trauma is that one cannot approach working with them as one would a child who has not experienced trauma. Because the same issues and the same responses don't apply. So, I have a daughter. She's now nearly 48.
Wow.
I haven't had to send her to her room for a very long time.
Yeah.
She's got her own life.
It's a good one, Adela.
But
now she's sending your grandkids to the room.
Exactly. When she was a child, I could use that as, in certain circumstances. Because, why? Number one, not traumatised, has a reasonable response and a sense of secure attachment and being loved, had her needs met. And I suppose number two, into that room, she actually took her love, my love for her, inside herself. So instead of going into the room and trashing it, which is what most traumatised kids would do from shame, she went into that room and thought, oh, why has Mummy sent me into this room? What have I done to displease Mummy? Right? That's a healthy response. And so people often think, oh, you can't, you just preach too much permissiveness. But I actually don't. I think you have to, horses for courses, right? When you're dealing with a child who's experienced complex trauma, you have to understand that child is doing whatever they're doing, not because they want to, but because they have to. because they don't have the capacity to think about why they wouldn't. It's not like that. It's not actually occurring on that level.
Yeah.
You have a child who is driven by a sense of shame, pain, loss, absence, and they are in a heightened state a lot of the time because of that.
And you know, the most unfortunate thing is growing up and observing, and I still observe it today. You know, one of the things, Adela, I observe a lot is parents, and it applies to family setups, where you say, just leave this one. They're just like that. You know, this one is just that. That's how they behave. You know, it grows into the family to an extent that if my father or mother is presenting in a certain way, which we call behaviors, they're identified with that behavior. And everyone now disassociates or avoids that person. Same applies to the children.
Yeah.
So they're also clustered from they're identified by a behavior. They're judged by the behavior.
Judged.
Which is not a good thing at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
In all of the settings that I have helped to establish a real solid trauma-informed approach, it has been really important to establish a sense of safety first, because what we have to understand is, if we go back to thinking of those 4 impacts, the physiological, there's the 2 first ones, the neurobiological and the physiological, they have to be addressed first. In the schema of things, they must be addressed first, because otherwise the child can't begin to take in any ideas about new ways of being. So, for example, the approach of being with the child in a positive, benign way, pretty much all through their waking hours, apart from when they're in the toilet or having a shower, or otherwise engaged in personal tasks, but being with them in a positive, benign way. It's the only way to do it, because the child has to experience the sense of having their needs met and a sense of safety. I think sometimes stories sort of demonstrate what I'm talking about.
Very true. They do.
And I want to tell this very quick. Well, tell it as quickly as I can.
Oh, Adela, that's why I get you. The stories, they're always very informative.
I was running a place which you know of, called Hurstbridge Farm, which was the first pilot of therapeutic residential care in Victoria, and we had our second intake of kids. We had 8 kids, and we were just looking at the second intake of new kids, and we used to meet the kids hierarchically. So I used to meet them first. Then I used to introduce them to the assistant manager, and then we introduce them to all the adults before ever introducing them to the other children.
Okay.
And the reason for that was, how do you create safety? Not by having the kids run the show, by having good, caring, benign, calm adults creating an environment of safety. So we had to go down through all the adults first and establish that. So I went to meet this boy. He was 10 years old. He had been running away from home forever, basically. And he was, it was a fairly, I suppose, chaotic criminal family, where there wasn't much definition between the children and the adults. They're just people who lived their lives.
Wow.
But he was very fiercely holding on to his control of everything. And so I went to meet him, and he came out with his arms crossed, and he said, is it true you don't let kids out on their own up there? And I said,
tough guy.
well done. And he looked at me and I said, you've been doing some research.
Yeah.
It's a really good thing to do some research on somewhere you're coming.
Good approach, yeah.
Yes, that's right, we don't. Why? Do you want to know why? Do you know why? No. I said, well, I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
It's because we want you to be safe. And that's the best way I know of making sure you're safe, is to be with you all the time.
Yeah.
He wasn't pleased with that. And we went through, several other pushback situations where he was kind of telling me, no, you're not going to control me.
Yeah.
And I was saying, in the nicest of all possible ways, well, we're not going to control you, but we are going to keep you safe.
Yeah.
As I was leaving, he said, you going back there now? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, I hope you have a car accident on the way back there and die.
Whoa. Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I get it. You're angry and you don't like what you've heard. Personally, I hope I don't, because I quite like being alive. But I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
So I didn't get caught in to any of that, negativity.
Yeah.
So he came to us. He only ever tried to run away once, and he didn't. It was a very half-hearted attempt. But he actually had started to really get used to spending his day with good adults who liked him and who did things with him, fun things, and interacted with him and met his needs. So it was February when I met him. And fast forward to a day in June. I'm driving into work in the morning. It was a very steep driveway, as you know, Seth.
Yeah, that's steep.
And he came running out of the house closest to the driveway, waving his hands in the air in his pyjamas. And we're talking June, it's winter, it's cold. I said, rolled my window down. What is it? What is it? And he looked at me and he said, Adela, there's no adult with me.
I've become Mr. Responsible.
And I said, how's that? I think what had happened was they'd gone to get the milk or something, well, hardly away. But he'd woken up at exactly that moment.
Yes, kid.
But he had begun to learn that it was good.
Yeah, it was actually good.
And he wasn't happy. I said, well, better go and find one, because it's important for you to have someone with you. So it's change. And that change came about from very tiny actions, but persistently applied.
Wow, sorry. Very powerful story there, Adela.
4 months.
And that apparently brings us to the end of the first part of the show. You've had Adela's story, which is very inspiring and powerful, on transitioning a young person who's experienced complex trauma into accepting and feeling safe. So all it takes is, it's a stepwise process to be able to achieve safety. And that's what the Wellness Diary represents. So for our viewers' sake, Adela is a trauma-informed therapeutic practice consultant. She's been in the game for 5 decades, and she has a lot of stories to tell that we'll keep telling as we approach other episodes. And as we've broken down trauma, understanding what trauma is, and identifying where trauma is, and playing around safety, let's continue building the Wellness Diary community and get the power of belong, believe, and becoming together. So as we wrap up, I would like to encourage all of you to continue subscribing, continue to build the community, continue supporting, bring your contributions, bring your feedback, so that together we can create safer spaces in our homes, safer spaces in our schools, in our communities, and in our workspaces. Thank you for being part of today's journey on the Wellness Diary. Your engagement is essential as we aim to create a community that prioritizes mental health for everyone. If today's episode inspired you, please share it with someone who might need it. We also send out monthly email drops featuring reflections, mental health insights, blogs, upcoming events, and resources designed to support you on your journey. You can sign up through the link on our bio or via our website. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all platforms so that you don't miss any conversation. Together we can build a supportive environment where everyone thrives. Until next time, keep believing in yourself and the power of shared experiences as we belong, believe, and become.